listening to another episode of Coco's Italian Market Podcast. I'm here with Cannoli.
Hello.
And we're going to learn how to make cannolis, correct?
Correct. Yeah, we're going to do cannolis several different ways because it can be really kind of difficult. It's a labor of love, so I'm going to show a lot of shortcuts.
So first of all, for a non-Italian, can you tell us what a cannoli is?
It's a creamy filled tube of fried dough. It's a Sicilian pastry that is translates directly to like reed or tube, and we'll make the tubes and we'll make the filling.
So if I want to make my own shells, how do I get going?
Well, you need to have stainless steel tubes, and if you don't have them, we sell them. You get 4 for $7, or you can find them on Amazon. Other than that, if you don't have the tubes or an Italian grocery store close by, we'll make cannoli chips, and they'll taste fantastic. And I'll show you a shortcut also to make the chips.
When you say chips, you mean like it's going to be a dipping situation?
Yeah, kind of like a Tostito. We're going to make our own chips, and it'll be really fantastic. You'll love it.
Okay, great.
Let's start with the dough, and it's 2 cups of all-purpose flour, an egg yolk, 1.5 tablespoons of butter, and a tablespoon of sugar, and just a pinch of kosher salt. And the liquid we're going to use is a sweet wine, whether it's white wine or brandy or port, any kind of fortified wine. That gives it, if you use a red wine, it'll give it its color, the traditional brownish color. And you don't really taste the wine in it, or if you don't want to and you don't have any, you're welcome to use water, of course. First thing I'm doing is getting the butter a little bit soft. And I've got my 2 cups of all-purpose flour, a tablespoon of sugar, a pinch of kosher salt, and we're going to do 1.5 tablespoons of butter and an egg yolk. A little trick is to use the shell. Probably everyone knows that who wants to bake. Okay, putting it all in a mixing bowl. And I'll start in the mixing bowl just so you can see it, but I'm going to move to the mixer. Of course you can mix it by hand, but I've got the tools and the staff to clean up after me. Okay, now that it's out of the mixer, I just form it into a dough ball. I'm going to cover it with a sheet of cellophane, or you could use just a paper towel and let it sit for 20-30 minutes.
And what's the purpose of that? What's happening while it's sitting?
Well, first off, from experience, if it sits, it rolls out easier. And secondly, I believe it just lets the flour finish absorbing all the ingredients. It tastes better too, and it's easier to work with, obviously. While the dough is resting, you could go on to our cannoli filling. We can get started on that.
And when I first had cannoli with you, I thought I was going to taste ice cream.
No, it's not ice cream. It's refrigerated, but it's not frozen. And the cannoli cream is, for this video and this recipe that we're doing, it'll be 2 cups of ricotta cheese, a 1/2 cup of powdered sugar, 1 little cap of vanilla, and then some lemon zest or orange zest, or if you have lemon or orange flavoring, and then just a few good sprinkles of cinnamon. But have fun with it. You know, you can do different flavors. You want to get creative, like make a peanut butter, or if you have some cocoa powder, you could do chocolate, and that sounds great. Well, go ahead and mix all the ingredients together in a bowl. And if you're going to put chocolate chips in, like say for this recipe, 4 ounces of chocolate chips. We also have candied lemon peel, candied orange peel. I like that. It's one of my favorites. If you have the mini M&Ms, that's always fun.
You can use nuts of different sorts too?
Yeah, but most people use the nuts for the garnish at the end, and I'll show you how that looks after. And of course, taste a little bit as you go, and add some powdered sugar and whatever else you might need, maybe a little more extract.
Now, do I need to refrigerate it?
Yeah, let's put it in the refrigerator while we go ahead and fry some of the wontons.
What about the freezer?
No, you don't want to freeze it.
Because?
You don't freeze milk.
Okay.
Not milk in that form, you know. If you were making ice cream, you kind of need a blast freezer at 0 or -10, so no. Okay, so now that your dough is ready and you made your cream, you want to flour the table and start rolling out your dough. And this is where the pasta roller works really well. And you remember that video we linked to?
The Pasta Sisters?
Yeah, the Pasta Sisters.
Yeah,
that's fantastic. I mean, we'll have a link referring to them if you just have a roller to make your dough. And you want it as thin as like a lasagna sheet. Of course, if you have the sheeter, the pasta roller, that'll work great because it gives you the edges. If you're using the tubes to make the traditional cannoli, you're going to cut circles. And the right size circle is actually, say, a peanut butter jar container. Okay. That makes a good size circle.
So you could take the lid of a peanut butter jar and use that to cut out the circles.
Yeah, that's a good diameter. And now when you fold it around the tube, just use a little bit of water to kind of press them together. And don't make it too tight. If you make it too tight, it's hard to come off the tube. Okay, so now we're going to do some of the shortcuts, some of the easy ways to make cannoli chips. And you can get wontons at any grocery store, or if they don't have the wontons, get the egg roll wraps, which are the same exact thing. Mm-hmm. If you have access to fresh lasagna, not the dry, that works perfect.
Really?
Yeah, it bubbles up really nice. Of course, it's not made with the fortified wine, but you know what? People love it. Once you add the chocolate to the edges, you know, it's really fun. So here I am cutting in this case, the lasagna into smaller, more manageable triangles. And we'll fry these up at 350. And you'll see that each chip fried up a little bit different. I'm using an induction oven. I really like that because you can dial in the exact temperature. And if you don't, just use a candy thermometer to get your temperature right.
I don't say this to all the girls, but I like your strainer. Where did you get that?
Oh, thanks. The strainer actually picked it up at the Oriental Market just down the road here. Yeah, I like it for this project. And here's a good example in this shot of the lasagna and how that puffed up versus the wonton. Of course, you'll probably be using the wontons because it's not that easy to find the fresh lasagna. Of course, we do sell fresh lasagna, so you can make your shells with it because it does puff up a little better. And then we have the cookie sheet with the paper towel, and that will absorb the oil. And Tim, here's an example of the lasagna sheets that are on the stainless steel rolls.
Now with the chips, we know they're done when they start floating. With the tubes, how do you know they're done?
Just when they're a slight brown, just like in this video. So I just got some chocolate chips out of the cupboard, and depending on the power of your microwave, just put it in for, say, 20 seconds, take a look at it, maybe add another 5, 10, 20 seconds.
What kind of consistency do I want for the chocolate chips?
Keep it lumpy, almost like peanut butter.
When I want to squeeze the cannoli cream into the tubes, do I use a spoon or?
You can use a spoon. If you don't have a baker's bag, a frosting bag, then just go ahead and use like this is a 1 gallon Ziploc bag. Mm-hmm. We'll cut the corner out and it just makes it a little easier. But now that we have the chocolate that's melted, we can dip the ends in. And then from there, while the chocolate's still malleable, we can then dip it into the nuts. It looks really cool. So here's a plain one. Now we're dipping the ends. Okay, now for the cannoli chips, we will go ahead and use the cannoli filling. Put in a little bowl, maybe a ramekin or a monkey dish, depending on how much you made. And that'll be the center part of the dish in this display. And now we're going to start dipping our chips in the chocolate. Okay.
It looks good.
Yeah, and then we'll put it on some wax paper just to let the chocolate dry. Now that the chocolate has dried a little bit, then we're ready to plate it. And of course, you can add a little powdered sugar. You can garnish it with a little more chocolate, some nuts, chopped cherries, another dash of cinnamon. Okay,
say I try to make my own tubes and it's a disaster. I burn it, I burn myself. What can I do, especially if I'm in a pinch?
Run to the grocery store and get some ice cream cones. And then, as you can see, my mom's dipping the ends in the chocolate.
Okay.
And then in the nuts. And how good does that look?
Pretty good.
Yeah, it does. And then go ahead and fill it with the cannoli cream. It's perfect for parties. Kids will love it. Everyone's going to rave over this.
If I want to get invited to a lot of parties.
This is what you bring. That's funny, Tim.
We're about to wrap it up. Now, all these things, instructions, and the recipe is on the website, correct?
Yes, italianmarket.biz. Click on recipes, and I always have a link to a PDF file where you can easily print it off.
And if I'm totally lazy, can I just come to your restaurant and buy it from you?
Oh, of course, yeah. And then we have a really large cannoli that we fill with smaller cannolis, or I can put them on a tray or in a to-go box, and when you get home, you can display them yourself.
You'll deliver?
Yeah, we do deliver, in a certain proximity.
And where is Coco's Italian Market located?
We're in Nashville, Tennessee, on the corner of Charlotte and 51st Avenue.
Okay.
So if you're traveling to Nashville, come visit.
All right.